Welcome to Lovin Sheila podcast shorts. Hope everyone had a good week. I'm happy to be back here with you again today. Um, I was inspired this morning by something I read, and I should have captioned it because I lost it and I can't refer back to it. But the objective was something I talked about this week with my therapist. We've been talking about being there for others because I have a tendency, in my opinion, to potentially overextend myself. And I've really been working on doing what I want to do, not what's expected of me, not what the right thing to do is, but doing what I want to do. Because oftentimes I find myself doing what could be considered the right thing, but I'm not happy. I'm overextended, or it's it busies my schedule more than I need it to be. So really just trying to tune in to me and really figure out how to put myself first. And that's why I was listening to my message the other day, putting yourself first, because I really needed to really draw into that and really think about it and really practice what I preach. And so one of the things that we discussed is, I'm always trying to give 100% and be there 100%. And then, my brother and I were talking, and even my therapist and I were talking, and she's like, maybe you can't give 100%, but you can still give something. And so that's what I have been trying to feed into, and how I manage my life is how much can you give and still take care of yourself? Because at the end of the day, giving and being depleted is not quite what we're working for. So we really have to learn to manage that. So I've been working on that and really trying to let that resonate with me. But sometimes you can't give 100%. But it doesn't mean that you're not being supportive. It doesn't mean that you're not giving. It's just knowing your limits and knowing your capacity and your emotional capacity to give. And you got to make sure you're full. Like I always say, you got to take care of yourself first. You got to give yourself the oxygen mask. So the question becomes, how can I be there for others or show up for others and still show up for me? So I just want to bring that to, I'm sure I'm not the only one who's struggling with this. But, we all want to show up for people, but make sure that you're showing up for yourself. And if you're doing things and you're not feeling good and you're feeling conflicted and resentful while you're doing it, then you're not quite showing up for yourself. So let's take a minute and evaluate that. And yeah, that was just a little sidebar. I want to talk about connections a little bit today because I'll be honest, I never thought in all my years I formed a connection with this person. It seems like I went from just meeting someone to like maybe falling in love and developing some type of relationship and not really nurturing the connection that we have, or really determining, is there a connection and what is the foundation of this connection? And so now that I'm a little older, hopefully a little bit wiser, I understand that I need to have a foundation for my connections. And it's important to always nurture that connection. But first, we need to know what it is. And so we have to be mindful. And so that's part of this. I want us to understand in everything that we do, whether it's showing up for other people, whether it's determining if we want to pursue the connection with this person, we have to be mindful. We have to tune into ourselves and tune into what we're feeling and thinking, okay? So we want to determine if there's a foundation, what the foundation is for our connection. It's important once we determine that to nurture the connection. And part of determining, I should go back, is just understanding if we value the same things, if we are seeing each other completely, meaning, are you, well, let's just say it, sexualizing me, or do you really value something that's in me, a characteristic in me, my purpose? Are you connected with my purpose? Are we spiritually connected? For me, do you believe in God? Are you hearing from God? Do you want to please God? That's important. And then, is there an emotional connection? When I'm down, when I'm low, can you support me and help guide me back to where I am my best self? And those things help me in determining my connection with someone. And so we want to make sure that we nurture that. And once we build this connection, now we have a foundation for our relationship and where we're going from that. And one of the things that I want to make sure of is that, we want to make sure, why we do it. What is our reason for what we do? Why we are moving in the direction that we're moving? I'll say the vines can't be, more lucrative than the root. Again, back to the foundation. So yeah, we might build this great empire together. We might have finances, we may have a home, we may have the cars that we want, the children and all. But at the same time, while we're developing this great operation and everything is moving smoothly and it's progressing, the operation cannot be bigger than the connection, because the operation can fall apart at any time. The children will grow up, they'll go away, they'll build their own families, you know, the cars, will have to be replaced, and everything, these things have to be replaced. And so once all these things kind of wither away or do what they do in their season, then we have to make sure that our connection has been established, that it has been nurtured, that it is flourishing, and that it's not lost. And so that's why we do it. And if that connection is not there, you're not going to know, why we do it. And part of that connection is ensuring that the person that you care about is fulfilled, and checking in with them so that you value each other. So you're checking in, simple like, are you good? You know, everything good, because we can have everything, everything. And internally, our heart is in disrepair. And so, once those things are gone, you still have your heart. So we want to make sure that that's not in disrepair. So while we're moving this operation along, while we're building our empire and whatnot, we want to make sure that we are tending to the heart, to the soul, to make sure that things are good and that it will not be, you know, pushed over. And that's part of respect too. Just respecting the other person, making sure that their needs are being met along the way, and not what we think their needs should be or what we want to give them, but what we found that they value when we were building the foundation, making sure that their values are still intact, that we are supporting them in those values, and that we are building together. We can't get like this. Our foundation cannot be based like this. It has to be a solid, and I'd say somewhat even foundation where we're understanding each other and seeing each other. And so that's what I want to make sure, because along the Lovin Sheila journey, my journey, and it's important for me because I don't think, first of all, I haven't got it all figured out. I'm just looking back and I'm reflecting. I was doing a hike yesterday, and a lot of times after I finish my hike, I go and I sit on this little wall, and I just sit there, and I just kind of relax, and it's reflecting. And I look at how long it took me to do it and whatnot. And this is kind of what Lovin Sheila is. It's like me sitting down and reflecting on my life and my experiences, and maybe where I went wrong in some places, where I didn't stay connected, where I let things get bigger than me and lost sight of showing up for me. And I showed up for the business, and I showed up for the kids, and I showed up for the relationship, the person in the relationship, and trying to make sure that they were happy or they weren't upset with me. But in the process, I think I became a bit upset with me myself. And so, you know, I felt like my heart was in disrepair. And so I am repairing it, and I'm trying to reestablish a foundation, a secure foundation, and trying to get rid of the different stinking thinking and whatnot that I had amassed over the years, and try and build it with a more healthy, loving Sheila aspect. And so that's why I bring this to you. So just make sure your connection is always nurtured. Don't be like me, where I didn't really understand that. I didn't really value the things that were outside of just you and me, how impactful they were to the full picture. Making sure that someone's life is in order, that they're happy, that the family is good, and that the relationships are not in disrepair with others helps bring you a helps us to show up in a more complete way. And someone who cares about us cares about how we nurture those relationships. So connection is so much more than the physical. It is not the physical. I mean, I'll just say that part. So that's what I've learned. That's what I will leave you all with. Just make sure that you're mindful throughout your relationship, that you continue to nurture, that you don't lose sight of anything, and that you are always connected emotionally. Because, as I mentioned before, emotional support is the biggest thing, because it helps us know that we're in this together. We can get financial support. It's easy for me to send a donation to something. For me to get into the trenches and work with you and to do something and to show up physically for you, that's more challenging. So what I want, to encourage us to do is make sure that we have someone that we're building a connection with that is willing to emotionally invest in you, to show up with you, to be in the trenches with you, to take on some of your burdens as you take on their burdens. And there's a mutual desire to see the other person fulfilled and doing well and to excel at life. And so as we evaluate our connections, just be sure to make sure we build that solid foundation and that we're nurturing it and caring for it and checking in. I think that's important, to check in how we're doing, make sure there's no missing parts. Sometimes we get busy, but just a continued mindfulness along the way. And that's all I'll leave you with today. I have so much more to say, but this is a short and I'm starting to get long. So don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share, and go to Lone Wolf Bodywear and get your Lovin Me t-shirt. Join our movement, okay? I will see you on the next Lovin Sheila podcast. Take care.